Hello, Year 4. Welcome to Tuesday, the 16th of June. This is your English for today. Okay, so yesterday you had a go at looking at an extract from The Animals of Farthing Wood, and I read you a story called The Messy Magpie. Now, both of those stories are about creatures who have to save their habitat from the humans, and that is going to be your task for the rest of this week. Okay, so it says your task for the rest of the week is to plan and write a story about a creature whose habitat is destroyed by humans. What will happen? How will the animal survive? So we're going to start today. I'm just going to give you a few ideas about how humans really do destroy animal habitats. Okay, so you will be familiar with all of these, but I'm just reminding you. Okay, so a big cause of destruction is logging. Okay, so logging is when we cut down the trees, either to make way for farmland or because we need the wood. Here are three creatures you can see on the screen whose homes have been destroyed because of human logging. There's just three examples. There's so many animals who are affected by this. Okay. So you might want to set your story in a forest or even a rainforest or woodland, and your creature might be somebody or something that lives in that place. Okay. Another example, we have touched on this in school recently, in fact, talking about plastic pollution. Okay, this particularly affects sea creatures. Okay, and seabirds. You can see the seal and the turtle there have been caught in fishing nets, which have been abandoned, and the bird there is caught in plastic bag. This is a huge problem. Okay, so you might want to think about writing about a sea creature. And just one final idea for you, but global warming or climate change, now that's having a huge effect on lots of animals' habitats. Kind of the classic image of climate change is a polar bear whose homeland, the ice caps are melting, but also global warming is meaning that lots of farmland and drier places, the food isn't growing for the animals. Okay, and then really recently, of course, the fires in Australia, global warming was partially to blame for that, and of course that had a huge effect on lots of animals. Okay, destroyed the homeland of lots and lots of animals. Okay, so some things there that humans are doing. Okay, or you could do it something slightly more local to home. You could write about a creature who lives in a field, maybe a bug, and a local farmer is spraying pesticides. Somehow the creature needs to save themselves from the farmer and his pesticides. Or it could be a child in their garden who likes to break spider webs for fun, and maybe the spider has to save itself somehow. Or creatures who live on an empty plot of land and a new housing development is being built there. So what could the creatures do to stop that from happening? Now, your creatures are going to have some sort of skills which help them to kind of save themselves. Okay. They need to be particularly clever or resourceful. What might they do in order to save themselves? So before you just start writing about any creature, a polar bear or a tiger or anything you think of, you must think about how they're going to actually save themselves. And I've just got a couple of ideas, a couple of examples from books about creatures who sometimes or have saved themselves in their stories. So the obvious one is the Messy Magpie, okay, which is what I read to you yesterday. Now, Morris the magpie saves his habitat by cleaning it up with some friends. Yeah, he learned about recycling and took the rubbish to the recycling centre. Okay, so he was a particularly clever bird, and he was able to carry the things to the recycling centre and save his kind of homeland. And of course, he also, right at the end of the story, also plants plants some new plants and waters them and nurtures them and revives his habitat. Another story that you might be familiar with is Charlotte's Web. Now, this story is a little bit different. I've used this example because Charlotte, the spider, is able to write messages in her web in order to save the life of Wilbur the pig. Okay, so a spider can maybe write a message to the humans. Maybe that's something your character is able to do. And another example of a creature who does that is another favorite of mine, The Snail and the Whale, a book by Julia Donaldson. The snail saves the whale's life because it writes a message on in a children's classroom. It writes a message in slime to the humans, and then the humans go down and save the whale. Okay, so think before you start drawing a picture of an animal and writing about them, think about how they will actually save their habitat. Okay, they need to have some sort of skill or some sort of way of saving their habitat. So here is the sheet that you're going to fill in today. It's a character profile. I want you to plan your character today. And so you can obviously start by drawing a sketch and writing what your character looks like, and then think about what is your character actually like. What special skills does he or she have? Yeah, is it the ability to write a message? Is it that they're very clever and they are able to learn about recycling? Is it that they can physically carry the rubbish to the recycling centre like the Messy Magpie does? What is your character actually going to do? What does your character do in the story? How will he or she save their habitat? And just finally, the last one says change. And that means, in lots of the best stories, the characters change and develop their personality in some way. How is your character going to change? How will they become a better character? Okay. And your second task today, if you have time, and it will really help you when doing your story, there is a second sheet for you to have a go at drawing and describing the habitat that your creature lives in. Okay, so if your creature is a sea creature, draw a picture of the sea, but also describe in as much detail as you can. At the beginning of the story, is it clear, blue, gorgeous sea? And then at the end, does it become polluted, dirty water? Okay, or if they live in the rainforest, put as many descriptive words about the place as you possibly can. Maybe even do a before, a beginning of the story, and then an after after the humans have had some effect on it. That'd be great. Okay, the more detail you can do at this point, the easier it will be for you to write a story starting on Thursday. Okay.